Welcome back to the final video of this lovely forest home. We're all wrapped up, and that means it's time to give you the final tour and take a look back at some of the progress that was made over the long 7 months that we've been working on this place. Following the natural progression of this home, I'm gonna first go over the entryway and living room. What a complete transformation. It's gonna be a little echoey in here. We have it very, very lightly staged. And so that means a lot of the big furniture, rugs, things that people would normally bring in are missing. If you remember, there used to be a wall here, a partial wall, that ended probably about here, and it really closed off this room from the main entryway, closed off this closet, and made it that much darker. I would say the overall theme of this house when we first got it was dark. Everything was dark. The walls were dark, the floors were dark, everything was very gloomy and shadowed, I'd say. These really, really fun, long, skinny windows that are throughout the house add a lot of character, but don't necessarily bring in the most light. Another contributing factor is that there is a carport off of this main entryway, and so it is shaded from that. So one of our primary goals was to brighten and lighten this entire space up, and we absolutely achieved that. The walls were painted this really pretty off-white color, and the trim was painted a nice neutral beige color that really complemented everything. These light oak floors that are hardwood really tie into the entire look and add to that light and bright feeling in this place. The last thing we wanted to do was bring in any heavy dark colors that would make this feel like a cave and really close off the space. A lot of this paneling has been repaired, replaced, and patched up so that it's good as new. It's a really pretty accent. You can see the subtle lines that run vertically. That does help to draw the eye up, in my opinion, and I think that they're an original nod to the home without having to re-sheetrock the entire place. Now you'll see later on, we absolutely did have to do a lot of sheetrock work, but this was one room that the paneling was in good enough shape and it made sense to actually keep it. One of the last major changes, if you remember, this wall was not one straight wall. It actually sunk in right here and stole space from the bathroom. It was a pretty useless space. I could see maybe they wanted to put like a bookshelf here, but that was about as much as what would fit there. It didn't really add anything to this living room. All it did, in my opinion, was take away from that bathroom that is behind this wall. So for us, it was a no-brainer to go ahead, flatten out this wall and make it look like it was always intentional and meant to be there. Coming down this hallway, again, it was just freshened up. The paneling was lightened, brightened, and of course that hardwood floor was continued throughout the entire property except for the bathrooms. We were able to add in more lights to really brighten this place up. There were a lot of sconces on the walls, but not a whole lot of lights in the ceiling. And so we were able to add in some flush mount lights to really brighten the space up and make it more inviting. Now, coming into this dining room area, it is a petite dining room, but it still has plenty of space for what I would envision to be like a circular table. If it were my place, I would put a circular table right here anchored with a rug, and you would have enough room for at least 4 chairs, possibly more depending on how much space you wanted to go into the kitchen area. And one of the features that we really, really wanted to keep was this beautiful solid wood door that was original to the property from our best estimate. This door was originally stained a brown color similar to this. All I did was try to rejuvenate it a little bit. It still has some age characteristics, but it's a beautiful, solid, very smooth and soft door that brings a lot of warmth to this corner. For me, I love to mix and match some tones. So you will notice there are mixed metals and mixed wood grains throughout this property. In my opinion, it can look a little too sterile if you keep with one specific wood tone and do that throughout the entire thing. I like a nice walnut color compared to this nice tan white oak color. They really play off of each other very, very well. I wouldn't go with like an orangey stain to go with these floors or to match this door. You need something that is complementary, and if you take the time to play around with the different tones, a lot of times you can find that sweet spot of two different looks that really complement each other and play well off of each other. And of course, one of the biggest changes is this kitchen. You saw me work extensively in this kitchen from the beginning. Let's rewind and remember what we were starting with. There was originally a wall here, and this kitchen actually ended smaller, with a smaller footprint than it has now. It is still a petite kitchen, and there's nothing that we can do about that. I think it's a perfect size for this home, and we utilized as much space as possible. We ripped out this wall and brought the countertop a little bit further into the dining room. We didn't want to bring it too far because we still wanted plenty of space for someone to be able to put a table, since there is no eat-up kitchen bar. And I did decide to go with floating shelves here so that it does not close off this kitchen. I want to keep it as bright and airy as possible. I didn't want to block off this window, and I wanted to preserve the sight lines. So even though I'm losing a tiny bit of storage here by not having an upper cabinet, there's lots of closet space in this house, and I added a giant ceiling to countertop hutch style cabinet for lots of pretty storage, I'd say. Another space saving feature that I personally love to have in my homes are the trash cans that slide in and out from a cabinet. It just hides something that you don't necessarily want to look at. There are 2 trash cans in here, double trash cans for the most storage, and nice big deep long drawers throughout the kitchen. This one's our junk drawer, so it's a little messy right now. And I think it will be the perfect junk drawer for the future owners as well. This window in front of this sink is a really beautiful feature of this kitchen. I love a window near a sink. And the sink that we did choose is a single basin stainless steel drop-in sink. It actually has quite a few little gadgets that comes with it. It has a strainer, a drying tray, as well as a cutting board. So the new owners are going to have plenty of added counter space if they want to. You could cut on this and really extend your countertop, your working space a little bit, and this comes more of like a single basin sink at that point. Very versatile. One of the key features I wanted to incorporate in this kitchen when I was building out the custom cabinets was to make it completely custom and unique to this space. This area was just calling for these corner cabinets, and they add so much storage. They're very, very large, very, very deep. You can fit a lot of stuff in here. And what with them being all the way to the ceiling, yes, you might need a step stool, but that's even more storage. It's such a pet peeve of mine when cabinets end and there's a big void between the top of the cabinet and the ceiling. Yes, I know it's not the most convenient thing to have to reach up there, but it's even less convenient to have a basic dust and grease collector on the top of those shortened cabinets. These 2 bottom cabinets are absolutely huge. I would picture someone being able to put some spare appliances in here. For example, if they had a crock pot or a toaster or something like that, that's where I would keep it if it were me. If not, you could build some little shelves or get some little cubbies to go in here, because again, these are deep and they continue on to about here. So it's big, deep storage that really could house anything. There are also a lot of drawers throughout this kitchen. Each lower has one long, wide drawer that can hold all sorts of things. And I really love to go with this cup pull look. It really gives you something really substantial to grab onto, and it's just a very timeless and classic style of pull. And of course, I made sure that everything slid and fit perfectly and nothing hits or rubs on anything else. Space saving to the T. To continue with the theme of adding as much light and brightness, we did install some under cabinet lighting that is controlled by a light switch over under that cabinet. And in my opinion, that just adds a really elegant look to this space. They are LED, so they're very customizable. There's a timer, different light settings, all of that. So however the homeowner wants this space to look, it is pretty customizable. And the last feature that we did change in this kitchen was the placement of the refrigerator. Initially, the refrigerator was against the back wall where those glass cabinets were, and it was the first thing you saw when you walked into the kitchen. And I don't know about you, but for me, a refrigerator is not that show-stopping piece of art, that thing that you want to catch the eye first when walking into a kitchen. So we moved it from the back wall and put it in its own cubby area. And I think this is the perfect spot for it. This will fit either a counter depth or a regular size refrigerator. We gave them both options. I would probably do a counter depth just so that it doesn't stick out any further than it has to. And by moving it from the back wall, that gave us the opportunity to make those hutch cabinets be that eye-catching moment of this place. I know I mentioned it briefly, but this place really does have a lot of closet storage. There's a big closet here. We still have some painting supplies in there, but that's a huge utility closet for whatever the next owner needs. And through this hallway is the primary suite. This is a large and grand bedroom. I really love this room a lot. I've said it before. It's one of my favorite footprints in this house. It has a really, really interesting diagonal wall that we chose to put the bed on. I think it's the best spot for the bed. And this is a king size bed with two really, really oversized large nightstands. This space can accommodate a lot more furniture. That was something that I had to stop myself from overbuying. We did want to really lightly stage this place, and I could have kept going. I can't say that I'm 100% satisfied with the staging, but it at least allows people to envision the scale and size of this room, which can be a really challenging thing when it's completely bare. If it were my space, I'd put a little trunk or bench seat at the end of the bed and a little reading nook or set of chairs over by the fireplace. This fireplace turned out absolutely beautiful. Again, matching tones with complementary tones. The way this solid oak flooring meets up with this tile is absolutely stunning in person. It's a perfectly smooth transition and allows for that fire safety. You know, you don't want the wood floor to go directly up to the fireplace. This is a gas fireplace, so it's not wood burning, but you still want that safety feature. It's so pretty in the corner of this room, so you get multiple different angles with this screen wrapping around, and the two sconces on either side is just that perfect romantic touch for a bedroom. We also did decide to preserve this giant slider. Initially, we were going to replace it and probably with something smaller just because it's so big. You can see the door, when it's open, cuts off a good portion of this slider. But after we took a look at it, it is a very solid, very functional door, so we decided to keep it. A little behind the scenes fun fact, whoever installed this slider actually installed it backwards. So the slider door could be removed from the outside, which is not the safety feature that you want to have in your home. So we went as far as to uninstall this entire big, heavy, long door, lift it and completely pivot it and put it back in place the way it is supposed to be. And it made a world of difference. It functions and adds all sorts of really pretty natural scenery. You get to take a look at the forest in the back, get to watch the wildlife, listen to the birds, and you have your own access to the wraparound porch that goes around the entire property. One of the little fun behind the scenes features that we did add onto this property were in a couple of the closets. We did add motion lights, which is such a fun touch. You go in there and it lights up. You don't have to hit a switch and it will turn off in a designated amount of time. You get to set it. I think we have like 30 seconds on right now. And of course, if it senses motion, it will continue to turn on. But it's a nice touch to add a little bit more light to this place. And the last space to take a look at in this primary suite is this bathroom. Again, a really grand space. And again, a little echoey. It's a bathroom, that happens. This is a space that we did completely take back down to the studs and re-sheetrock the entire thing. It had a tiny, 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 rather scary looking little shower in this corner and the funkiest design of a sink that lived in this space of the bathroom. Everything got ripped out, all the plumbing got refreshed, everything was re-sheetrocked, and you saw me and came along as I built this really large double vanity. There is so much storage in this thing. Each and every drawer works, and even these cabinets have a little bit of extra storage underneath the plumbing as well. There is lots of space on this countertop. If somebody wanted to put some extra storage here, they could. They could put a laundry basket in that corner. I didn't want to close off the vanity by pushing it all the way against the wall. That's a bit of a pet peeve of mine that you see a lot of times in spaces where they're trying to really make the most of a footprint, and I understand that. In this particular space, there was no need to push it all the way to the wall and close off that corner. So it is equally centered so that you have room on either end and a little bit of space on either end as well. And lastly is the shower. We went with a neo-angle shower, which adds a lot of interior space, more than you would think. Now, we had the option of going with a larger, grander shower, but we decided to do this because if anyone wanted to build a linen closet in the future, that corner in the back wall would be the perfect spot for it. We didn't do it because we wanted to keep this place bright and airy, and there is still a lot of storage between the vanity and the two closets in the primary, but that would be a really easy addition. Or if someone didn't want to go through the trouble of building a whole closet, you could get a freestanding cabinet and it would sit there perfectly and you'd have plenty of space for it. The last thing of note in this bathroom was this area right here. This had a tiny, tiny doorway and we wanted to widen it so that there's plenty of access to this restroom. There was also another pretty useless wall here. It ended about here that blocked off the toilet from the view. I understand the concept. People wanted to provide privacy to the toilet, but this is already a private bathroom. This is the primary bathroom. It's not the main bathroom that everyone is using. And that wall got in the way of widening this doorway. And for us, a larger, wider, more accessible doorway is a much better feature than adding a little tiny bit of privacy to a toilet that is already in the same room. It wasn't in its own water closet or anything. Out of that primary suite and down the hall of closets, this is where I'm saying there's so much storage. There's a big pantry closet right here with lots of wire shelves for all the food storage anyone could need. The water heater is behind this door, and it connects to this laundry closet that also has a lot of storage in here. And we wanted to definitely preserve all of the storage because this property does not have a garage. It just has a carport and some storage underneath. We need to definitely preserve all of the closets and make that storage usable and accessible for everyone. This bathroom is the second bathroom of the home. This is the guest bathroom that the other bedrooms will have access to, and I would imagine any guests that come to visit. And it's a really good sized bathroom. There is a linen closet in this one. So there's lots of storage for towels, sheets, whatever anyone wants to keep in here. This entire space got tiled and completely updated. We did not move the toilet. The toilet was there in that position. We just refreshed it. And I went ahead and built this custom cabinet for this space. Again, lots of storage behind these doors and a functional drawer at the bottom for all the other storage you might need. We did decide to do some floating shelves right next to the shower. I stopped this last floating shelf high enough where if you wanted to put a laundry basket under it, you could. Again, trying to think of what I would do and how I would utilize a space like this. This was actually the area in the living room, if you remember, that had that cutout that jutted out into this bathroom. So the wall actually ended about here for this bathroom, and the tub fits snug in this corner, but you lost this entire space to the living room, and it was just full of strange angles. Having removed that, we were able to make the flow look a lot smoother in here. And last but certainly not least, we updated this shower bath with a brand new one. We definitely wanted to keep at least one bathtub in this house per usual. A lot of times people like to have at least access to one tub. So this shower tub is a perfect solution. It's got a lot of storage on the wall and a perfect spot to take a bath. And one of the last and final areas of this house, and something that was done behind the scenes within the last couple of weeks to a month, we're working on these 2 secondary bedrooms. So this is a total of a 3-bedroom house, and these back bedrooms are petite, but we made sure that you can fit beds and make them functional as separate spaces. It might be hard to remember and envision, but both of these bedrooms were not technically 2 bedrooms. It was technically 1 bedroom because you entered both of these spaces from this area and you had to enter 1 bedroom to get to another one. So we decided to extend this hallway all the way to here. Yes, we did lose a little bit of space for this bedroom over here, but to make up for that, we did add a pocket door. Now, this is the smallest bedroom of the house, but I'm thinking it would be a perfect office space. If somebody does absolutely need it to be a bedroom, it still does fit a bed. The reason we did a pocket door is we measured out and you could fit a bed along this wall easily, no problem. But it's a longer, skinnier space. Again, perfect for, say, a nursery or an office. Spare room, craft room, whatever you want it to be. It could fit a day bed, a futon, a perfect smaller guest room. Another reason why you could not classify this room specifically as a bedroom was it had no closet. So we actually stole some space from the closet of the other bedroom. It has 2, and gave it to this room. So this is now considered a bedroom. It has windows, it has its own doorway, and it has a closet now. And besides all of the technicalities, it's a cute little room that has all the charm and touches of the rest of the property. And now the larger of the guest bedrooms. This one absolutely can fit a queen size bed. We did all the measurements and you could fit one in here, no problem. This room has a nice view to the wooded backyard, just like the primary bedroom does. And again, has great storage because it still has 2 closets. We just gave half of one closet to the other room. It has a smaller shelf-lined closet over here and a larger closet against the other wall. This closet, like the other closet, we did go ahead And we put a motion sensor light so it turns on whenever somebody wants to access this closet. These sliding doors add a lot of ease to access the different areas of the closet. While functioning well to close off the space, it was already set up for sliding doors when we got into this place, and we did not think it needed to be changed. So we kept them and just spruced them up a little bit. And that's it. We are all done. I am so tired but satisfied. I was really happy with the way this turned out. I can't wait to go home and sleep for like a week. It's always so much work to renovate a house to this scale. We really did do it top to bottom, but it's worth it in the end, and I enjoy the work. As challenging as it might be, it's really satisfying, and I actually enjoy the process. I hope you liked coming along with me on this journey, and it was a journey. This by no means will be the last house that I go ahead and renovate. I have done lots of houses and I am excited to continue. I always learn something new and always get to try different creative touches on each one, depending on, in my opinion, what they need and what kind of style they lean into. So again, thank you so much for coming along with me on this beautiful forest home, and I appreciate every viewer. Thank you so much.